All right, what is up? We are here with Strategic Freedom Consulting, and we're going to run through just an introduction to this program in particular. And what we're going to look at here is a outline of what this program looks like. So we say with Strategic Freedom Consulting, our goal is to protect, preserve, and prosper. And there's a lot that we're going to cover, and we're going to cover this on the YouTube channel. We're going to cover a lot of different aspects of this, but just a brief overview. Different parts of this, things that correlate to protect, things that correlate to preserve and prosper. Again, biggest thing with a small business is you're making money, but are you keeping it? That's the big thing. Again, we look at problems here. We look at liabilities. We look at potential lawsuits. We look at just things that can be eroding our wealth, whether it be um, lack of insurance or whatever the case might be. So we need to work on protection first. That's like the baseline of the pyramid. And then we need to look at preserving. So again, biggest problem with preserving what we've earned is obviously taxes are going to erode our profits. Wasted money is going to erode our profits. If we're wasting money on advertising or we're wasting money on payroll or whatever the case may be, we want to be diligent with auditing what our expenses are and what we're bringing in. And we want to make sure that we're actually maximizing our profit. A big part of that's going to be taxes. Again, we'll cover that more. And then that last piece there, as far as a problem goes, if you're not prospering with your small business, odds are you're not investing your profits wisely. So again, we need to look at what we need to look at from a long-term standpoint. Biggest thing here is we have to be aware of inflation. We have to be aware of deflationary assets. Again, you're going to hear me talk about that when it comes to investment. What we're going to promise you is number one, we're going to help you stop the leaks. Again, we want to build lasting wealth. You got to stop the leaks. So if you picture like a leaking bucket, it's very hard to make progress if you're leaking out a lot of the money or the profits that you're making. Again, we need to protect and lock down our assets. That's going to be the proper structure of our business, all these different things. But again, we need to have peace of mind as well that we're protected properly. And then again, we need to preserve, we need to slash unnecessary taxes. We need to get rid of excessive spending or waste or whatever the case might be and preserve that wealth so that we can prosper through, wise investments for multiple income streams. Again, deflationary assets, which we're going to talk more about in a second here. But again, just to give you a little bit more detail on the pillar one or that base of the pyramid with protection. Again, we want to guard what we've built. You've spent your time, energy, you got your blood and guts spilled for your business, and so you want to guard what you've built. That's going to start with the proper entity structuring. Again, we want to minimize lawsuits, so that's where LLCs come in. That's where if we're a sole proprietor, then our business is mixed with our personal assets, and we can be vulnerable to lawsuits and different things like that. So again, we want to have proper structuring, which is also going to affect our taxes as well. And then we want to make sure that we have, whether it be umbrella insurance, malpractice insurance, if you're a healthcare provider, if you're, a lawyer or something, you have your E&O insurance. So we want to make sure that we have all these different things lined up properly. And again, that gives us peace of mind that we can then build and use our talents to build our business without constantly worrying about, that lack of protection. Again, pillar two, we talk about preserve. This is such a big one. And this is where most business owners, I think, really lack understanding is how to keep more of the money you bring in. Again, we all know that gross sales or gross, money brought in doesn't mean anything. It comes down to profits. What kind of profits are you keeping? So again, we want to do proactive tax planning, not just filing with your accountant at the end of the year, and a meeting at the end of the year or in March with your accountant is not going to get it done. It's got to be proactive throughout the year. We want to make sure that we're leveraging all the possible deductions we can, tax credits that we can. Again, we want to be really, really intentional and proactive with our tax planning. And then again, timing for income and expenses for maximum savings. Again, if you have something that you're looking at, maybe buying something, an asset for your business, there's going to be a timing factor there. If you're looking at whether it be, filing for a tax credit or even in a previous year, you don't realize you can actually do an amended return, go back previous years and recapture some of that money. So timing's a big piece of this as well. And then again, this is probably the most sophisticated part of our program is pillar three, how to prosper. So now we look at how do we make our money work for us? We've now worked on protection. We've worked on tax savings, preserving the money that we've brought in. how are we now going to invest this properly and make our money work for us? So we want to build cash flowing investments for multiple reasons. But again, we all know that inflation is robbing from us, it's stealing from us on a daily basis. So here, when we talk about cash flowing investments, we want to continue to cash flow so we can keep up with inflation, number one. Number two, we want to make sure our wealth is growing and it's taking into effect the fact that it's devaluing. Dollars are devaluing, so we want to have deflationary assets. We want to layer our wealth strategies to reduce risk. But again, by layering wealth strategies, you can have the same dollars doing multiple jobs for you. Again, that's probably the most sophisticated part of this program. Super, super important. And then again, we want to create generational wealth we can pass down. And again, not just having the wealth, but actually having that structured properly as well, whether that be wills, trusts. We have irrevocable, revocable trusts, when to use which one, how we get our family involved, and how we are wise to avoid taxes, how we are wise to pass this wealth on. So again, that's another big part of it. And what we do differently than most, again, we're not like a one size fits all. Like we do an integrated approach, really focusing on small business owners. So it's not the kind of thing where like this isn't for some big corporation. This is going to be something where you have a lot of control over what you do with your assets. You have a lot of control over your business structure. So this could be for a married couple, it could be for a partnership, or it could be for a sole proprietor. But again, really focused on a small business, not corporations. And then again, we want to be able to protect you in downturns, grow in upturns. Right now, President Trump talks about we're going to the golden age or the golden era. There's a lot of opportunities going on here. And some of that's going to be in the crypto space. Some of that's going to be in some of this new type of investing or new type of assets that a lot of people just aren't familiar with. So again, we're going to be integrating that as well into our program. If anything I'm saying is resonating with you, again, this is the kind of thing you've built this business, you've built the profits, now you want to keep it. And so we do a free one-to-one strategy session where we kind of just, feel it out, see if you're a good fit for the program. That can be scheduled through email, strategicfreedom1@gmail.com. We also have, we'll have other things. We'll have links at the end of like YouTube video. You can reach out for, you can just basically see, hey, is this something that we think that we can recapture some money for you? More than likely we can. But again, that's going to depend on the situation that you're in. But again, looking forward to touching base and seeing if we can help out.